Hi, this is for Waltzes with Rats. This is a cage review for the Critter Nation cage model 161. I got the single story here. I got it off of petstreetmall.com for $130. That was definitely the best price that I found all over the internet with my searching, just because Pet Street Mall is currently shipping anything over $50 for free. And the shipping is about $30 wherever you go, so the total is usually about $150 to $200 from the manufacturer or from any of the other pet stores. It took us about 30 minutes to put this together. The product claims that you don't need any tools to put it together. However, we found a rubber mallet to be helpful during the final stages when it's really hard to fit the pieces together. The directions were fairly simple. They were labeled by picture, so the pieces themselves weren't labeled, only by image in the direction on how to put it together. That even though that sounds kind of confusing, it was still fairly simple to put together. As you can see, I have both the doors here open. You can have both of the doors open or just one of them. Either one is fine. They close and open with these two knobs which you squeeze together. This cage is slightly defective. It's probably just a little bent when it got put together, and I could fix it. I just don't really feel like it, but you have to push it a little to make it close all the way. These doors, there are things that I like about them and I don't like about them, simply because the entire front is open. The entire bottom, if you have multiple rats, they can easily get in here. My 3 rats, sometimes when they're really excited, it can be a little hard to close the doors just because they all want out at the same time. There's so much room for them to do that. Also, it's very easy for them to climb up. Even if it's at a really wide angle like this, they can reach over and climb to the top of the cage. I can prevent it by opening it really far, but sometimes one of them at least can still get up there. It's kind of frustrating. However, the doors like this makes it the easiest cage I have ever had to clean. Which is a really big bonus for me. It actually makes up for it, in my opinion, just because a cage that's hard to clean will make you really unmotivated to clean it. And it's very important for rats to have a clean cage just because of their very sensitive respiratory systems. I clean it every 3 days with deodorizing wipe that I got from a pet store. It's made for small animals. It's really important to keep your cage clean just because rat urine turns into ammonia over time, and it's very harmful for their lungs. Every Friday or Saturday I clean it with this specifically small animal cage cleaner. That keeps the dirt down in there, and about once a month I will scrub it with a different household cleaner just for a really thorough clean. There's a warning against Lysol for small animals. That chemical is just too harsh for them, so don't use it. This shelf here in the middle is pretty nice. It's made of the same black plastic that the bottom pan is made out of, and you can separate it from the tray it sits on. It can be either placed in the middle, on the top, or on the bottom here, and it can also even go on the opposite side of the cage. It also has a ladder that attaches to it. Here, the ladder, it came with a free fleece sleeve to go over it to protect animal feet. A wire cage, if your rat's feet will be standing on it, it's really important to cover it with anything, just because rats are prone to foot infections called bumblefoot. So you really need to cover it. So that is nice that they added it on there. The ladder here can be positioned in the middle like I currently have it, or you can position it to closest to the doors or farther back in the cage. So combined with the shelf being maneuverable on either side and higher up and farther down, and with the ladder here, it makes changing the rat surroundings a lot easier, which is really cool, just because your rat spends a lot of time in its cage. So it's important to get one that you can keep clean and keep exciting. It's like their house, so they deserve the best that you can possibly afford. The pans are removable, as I said, so the cleaning of this cage is super simple. I've never had a cage easier to clean. As you can see, it has a bottom storage shelf. I really like it. It's the entire width and length of the cage. As you can see, like, it's got really good length on it. And the width, it goes all the way to my arm. So, there's plenty of storage room in here. Makes just a little less clutter for all of your rat supplies. It also has wheels. The front two wheels lock in place. This kind of makes up for the cage being really heavy. I mean, you're still not going to be toting it up and down the stairs, but it does make it easy to move out of the room for when you clean it, because you don't want to use the chemicals in the same room as the rats. It was quite a bit bigger than I expected it to be. It still fits really nicely in my room. It's a really great cage. The size is fabulous. I mean, the bigger cage you can afford, the better, because rats, they are very active. They can jump and climb. It's not like a hamster. You can't put your rat in a hamster cage like I see so many videos and pictures of. It's really sad. Your rats need more space to climb around in, and have plenty of places to hide. As you can see, I've got two hammocks up here, a hammock that hangs down here, another large one, and I've got another one in the back here along with this one up front, and lots of toys. My rats are litter trained, which is pretty necessary for this cage, simply because the pans are so shallow. You are not going to be able to get away with a litter that can be kicked around everywhere. It's just not going to happen. It will get everywhere. There will be more on your floor than there will be in the cage by the end of the day. So you need to switch to a fleece fabric or something similar and switch to litter training. You can find a video on my Facebook and my YouTube channel, just the YouTube or Facebook /user/WaltzesWithRats. Litter training rats is actually beneficial for the rats and you, because it's less mess for you to pick up, and your rats will greatly benefit from it. Mycoplasma flare-ups from a buildup of feces and urine are really common for rats. A lot of rats are really sensitive to even a little bit of buildup in the cage. So having a litter box that you can switch out is really helpful. It didn't take that long. My rats are about 8 weeks old, and they already use a litter box probably 70 to 80% of the time. They even pee in there, not all of the time, but they usually do poop in there. Sometimes they like to poop in the hammocks as well. But otherwise it's really successful. They rarely poop on the floor, which is really nice. One thing that I don't like is that since these pans are made of plastic, rats love to chew plastic. It's just the way they are. It's harmful for rats, so you really do need to cover it up. You can't just get away with bedding. It just won't happen. Another thing that I really do like is the width spacing of the bars. Since the bars are so close together, you can even have really young rats. In my last cage, I had to modify it just because young rats could squeeze through the cage bars really easily. These ones, however, I don't have that problem at all, and my rats can climb it super easily, so it kind of even adds to the space that is available within the cage. So that is really nice. Overall, I'd say this was a good compromise between price, size, and quality. Just because when you buy a larger cage like this, you're expecting to spend at least usually $150 to $200. A good alternative is making your own cage, but I don't like using wood because it's really hard to sterilize when you get new rats for any reason. Buying a cage like this, a wire cage, is really beneficial. I mean, you really shouldn't be using any glass tanks or plastic bins. Those are really harmful for rats' lungs, and you'll be cleaning it constantly, and you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself a vet visit if you care about your animals, just because they will get sick from it. So the wire cage is definitely a plus. I really like it. My rats really like it. I have few complaints. The complaints I have I can live with, just because I really like it in general. I'll probably be buying the second story eventually, depending on how they grow into this and I have the money for it or not. But otherwise, I'm really happy, and so are my rats. So I hope that you invest the money in buying your rats a good cage, because they really do deserve it. They need the room. And I'm really happy with this. So I hope you get a cage that you can feel good about too. So have a great day.